Boy, what a great day to be alive. You know, nothing frustrates a boxer in the ring with you more. You ever see it like when they punch you and you just act like you're not hurt? Well, that's the way we're going to have to be. You're not hurt, and you're getting stronger. And Lance Wallnau is live today in the house on my brand new podcast. Thank you for helping this to become already. And we're barreling down towards the top 100 of all podcasts in our category, and which is a big achievement. And it's because of you, because we have an activist audience, that you guys are there. And so I encourage you, if you're on Facebook or YouTube or these other channels, to go to lancewallnau.com/podcast, because this is where we're doing what I believe is a kind of like a Pentecostal version of Rush Limbaugh, going into the news cycle, prophetically discerning what's really going on and in the political game, in the governmental game, but then adding that biblical perspective that allows us to be able to pray and engage and actually affect history and not just wring our hands in despair. So we've been talking a lot lately about the Trojan horse woman who shows up suddenly swept into Good Morning Joe and coming after her grand 60 Minutes debut as the the Facebook, or as the Facebook whistleblower, only to find out that in reality she's only been there for 2 years, that she was working on censorship. They weren't censoring enough, and she's been giving to 36 times to Democrat left-wing organizations, including Ocasio-Cortez. So the reality of the story is she's a left-wing activist that wants more censorship, specifically of political content coming from right-wing extremists, meaning anyone who isn't a progressive Marxist, meaning you. She wants you, and she wants congressional oversight. And Facebook is saying, all right, we'll cooperate. Congress, give us some guidelines. So the government wants to get involved. I even read, and I'm going to go verify the story, that the government is asking for Google search engine feedback because they want to see what kind of search engine comments are going. You've seen this coming. When you got Milley, or my General Miley, or Milley, my staff's always correcting me on my spelling. I think it's Milley. When you got, because that reminds me of Silly. So when Silly Milley is up there and he's spending more time reading about white rage than he is reading about the Afghan army defecting, then you got an incompetent that's literally responsible for giving $80 billion of the world's most advanced military hardware to create the top 10th most powerfully military optimized terrorist state of American enemies. How in the world? And this guy still has a job. Nobody gets fired. You never notice Democrats never fire anybody? I mean, even like they got guys doing whiteface in Virginia. They got Trudeau doing his totally. These are totally. If there was a Republican or conservative, they'd be dead. They'd be thrown under the bus. There was one guy who was in charge of the EPA. He was thrown under the bus. He did nothing. But the left can get away with any kind of scandal. I'm telling you, they got beating up their girlfriends, they got wives, they got all kinds of stuff that is scandalous. And they go kind of, it's like the mob. They just kind of, it's a shell game. They just reemerge someplace else, the administration with another job, and keep moving forward. So you're dealing with some really, the more you look at it, the more you realize you're dealing with a spiritual warfare that's showing up in the matrix of corporations controlling government and media. And these corporations working with government is a scary future. Basically, that's what communist China is. It's a nation, a communist party that owns the businesses and then competes to take over the world. It's kind of a scary thing. But what I want to talk about right now is the importance of getting clear on one thing that you have to catch. The news cycle is largely manipulated as a psychological operation to control your attention. You know, the story that was coming up with this girl that was missing and her boyfriend, and my staff would tell me about it, and I keep up with it but I was always curious about why is the story of one missing person going to the top of the news cycle? And I remember, do you know what the number one story was in the United States prior to 9/11? I remember it. It was Chandra Levy, the missing Congress intern in California. That was the number one story up until 9/11. I'm wondering what big news is about to come crashing down while they're distracting us with secondary news. The thing is, I want to get you into that podcast where we cover this whole nefarious map of who's controlling the media news cycle, who's controlling the legislative agenda, and what do we do to stand in the gap and arrest it. I'm convinced that only people that are armed with supernatural power and authority can arrest the destruction that's coming upon America, and I believe God wants us to rise up for that purpose. Please join us in this podcast. This is one you don't want to miss. Go to lancewallnau.com/podcast and join us there. Thank you. Oh boy, have I got news for you. For the last 6 months, I've been kind of biting my lip because I go right up to the edge on a subject. I don't care whether it has to do with the mask mandate, the vaccine, the data on COVID, what happened on January 6th, what happened with the Trump election. I get all these warnings from my social media platforms saying, that's a strike, well, you better be careful. And it's the first time you did it, you can't do that again. And I began to realize, I've got like 600,000 or so people on these different platforms that subscribe. And I'm being gagged. I can't say what I need to say. And you know what? That's just not America. After a whole lot of prayer, I found somebody that is doing something unique. It's a whole new platform. It's called Liftable. Liftable is the platform where I'm going to be giving the uncensored news. I can say everything I need to say, and I don't have to worry about censorship from the tech oligarchs. So you're going to join me there. I'm confident that in the underground, where we're about to go, you're going to discover the people, the connections that will help provide a muscular platform for the awakening we are longing for. The only thing that can save America for your children is going to be media speaking the truth, mobilizing the populace, and pushing back on the gates of hell. That's what the left does to us, and that's what we're going to be doing to them in the underground on the new Liftable platform. I look forward to seeing you on Liftable TV.